Most people hear the phrase rush hour almost every day, usually while stuck in traffic, squeezed into a crowded train, or rushing to work with thousands of other people doing the exact same thing. It's one of those phrases we instantly understand without ever really questioning it. But if you stop and think about it, the term is actually a little strange. Why rush hour? And why call it an hour when it often lasts far longer than 60 minutes? Let's dive right into it, right here on History of Simple Things. Long before cars existed, ancient cities like ancient Rome already experienced heavy traffic from carts, horses, merchants, and pedestrians, with some streets becoming so crowded that officials banned wagons during daylight hours. True rush hour emerged during the Industrial Revolution, when factories put thousands of workers on the same schedules, causing entire streets to flood with people at the same time. At first, the word rush referred less to speed and more to intensity and pressure. In older English, a rush could describe a sudden surge, like water rushing through a river after a storm, or crowds rushing toward an event. By the late 1800s, newspapers began calling busy commuting periods rush hour, as people rushed to work and home before transportation became overcrowded. Ironically, rush hour is usually the slowest part of the day to travel. That contradiction is part of what makes the phrase so interesting. The rush doesn't refer to traffic moving quickly. It refers to people trying desperately to move quickly. Everyone is in a hurry at the same time, which creates the exact conditions that slow everything down. It's almost like a giant human paradox. The more people rush, the less movement actually happens. The rise of trains in the late 19th century created the modern commuter, as workers traveled daily from suburbs to city centers, leading to crowded peak travel times that newspapers called the morning rush and eventually rush hour. When automobiles became widespread in the early 20th century, rush hour grew even more chaotic as roads struggled to handle millions of vehicles, causing severe and predictable traffic congestion in major cities. One fascinating reason rush hour became so severe is because humans naturally synchronize their lives. Most businesses open around the same time. Schools start in the morning. Offices operate on similar schedules. Society unintentionally created giant waves of synchronized movement. If even a small percentage of a city's population tries to use the same roads simultaneously, the transportation system can quickly become overloaded. Traffic scientists call this phenomenon peak demand. Roads can function smoothly until they hit a critical threshold. Once too many vehicles enter at the same time, traffic flow collapses dramatically. A highway operating at full speed can suddenly grind to a halt because of a surprisingly small increase in cars. That's why adding just a few extra vehicles during peak times can create massive traffic jams. Rush hour is not only stressful psychologically, raising anxiety, impatience, and stress hormones, but it also shaped the design of modern cities. To handle massive daily commuting patterns, cities expanded subways, highways, bridges, and rail systems, leading to major infrastructure projects in places like New York, Los Angeles, and Tokyo. Rush hour looks different around the world depending on a city's culture and transportation system. In Japan, train stations became so overcrowded that they hired professional pushers, called oshiya, to squeeze passengers into packed trains. Cities with strong public transport often see crowded trains and buses, while car-dependent cities face heavy highway traffic. In places like Amsterdam and Copenhagen, bicycles dominate rush-hour streets. Interestingly, rush hour doesn't only happen on roads. The concept applies to almost every system involving human movement. Internet traffic experiences digital rush hours when millions of users go online simultaneously. Restaurants have lunch rushes, gyms have evening rushes. Airports also experience holiday rush periods, and the phrase expanded beyond transportation to describe any sudden surge in demand that overwhelms normal capacity. Modern technology has reshaped rush hour through GPS apps like Google Maps and Waze, which redirect drivers to avoid congestion. Remote work has also changed commuting patterns, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, rush hour nearly disappeared worldwide as roads emptied when millions worked from home. One of the largest transportation shifts in modern history. Still, despite technological advances, rush hour remains deeply tied to human civilization itself. As long as people gather in centralized places for work, education, and commerce, there will likely be periods when everyone tries to move at once. In many ways, rush hour is a side effect of how humans organize society. It reflects ambition, economic activity, urban growth, and the constant movement of millions of lives intersecting every single day. So why is it called rush hour? Because it describes more than traffic. It captures a uniquely human phenomenon, millions of people all hurrying toward their goals at the same time. The phrase survived for over a century, not because it's technically accurate, but because it perfectly captures the feeling. Even when vehicles barely move, everyone inside them is mentally rushing to work, rushing home, rushing to appointments, rushing through life itself. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.